Hello and welcome to Forever Sports. Big news if you're Lions fans, and finally some good news with the Lions announcing some big names recommitting to the side this week. And in a month where we saw Sinani Nahamba officially confirm his departure, and a lot of Lions supporters very much despairing with where the union is going, we have announced that Asanate Tlabakanye, Franco Horn, and Henko van Beek have all recommitted to the Lions and signed relatively long-term contracts, actually up to sort of 2027, even 2028, which is a huge boost for the Joburg side, which is just known for producing absolute world-class talent and then letting them leave. So those three players, for example, hopefully start a couple of more players or big name players that will commit. Moine van den Berg already under contract, but players they'll want to see recommit as well are the likes of Aquine Horn, for example. Ruan Fenter committing long term as well will be a big one. And need to make sure they really sort of tie down the core of the side, because we've seen how they've moved forward a little bit this season, but still need a few more players, I think, to really become a competitive side in the URC. Before we get into it, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. So, yeah, the big thing obviously we saw when Sinani Nahamba made his move last week is the start of the transfer season when it comes to United to the Lions, and that was obviously quite a bad sign when you announced him as leaving. And I'm trying to find exactly when that announcement was. I think it was about last week or the two, but that's always sort of the start, because what basically happens with the Lions is we see them announce the sort of signings, re-sign, often sort of in big batches actually. Usually it's a press release and these players are re-signed, but we very rarely see them sign long-term contracts. At an absolute push, we see maybe 2 years type of thing. And I remember that was Moine van den Berg, I think it was last year, signed until 2026. Often these players are kind of signing 1-year contracts. They're signed for next season type of thing. And that was one of my biggest frustration when it comes to the Lions, the fact that we don't hand out our players long-term contracts, that we're not looking to try and give them, really sort of tied down for long periods of time. And that doesn't mean they're necessarily not going to leave, but it does mean that we can hopefully get some transfer fees or the likes of that out of signings when they leave. And if we can get a few million here and a million here, that can go back into trying to, first of all, sign some other players, maybe sign some replacements, and also then maybe put that towards contracting for other players you don't want to lose. So it started off very, very nicely with Asanate Tlabakanye re-signing for the Lions this week, and that's big. He has been an absolute rock in that front row, and I think that Lions front row is very, very underrated. He's a big part of that as well. So to be able to re-sign him is a huge win, and I think I think he's signed for about 2 years. So that's a nice big signing. We also, by the way, just on that note, also signed a couple of other players who maybe not quite as relevant, well, not as relevant as big at the moment. But Bronson Mills, for example, re-signed as well as SJ Kotze. But the big one for me was Frankie Horn. We have signed him down to 2028, a 3-year contract. I mean, it's kind of unheard of when it comes to the Lions. A 3-year contract for him is huge. He's been brilliant once again this season. He knows how to score tries. The man is very, very underrated. I mean, he's not quite your typical sort of South African back row. He doesn't have quite the physicality and the size that the likes of a Cameron Harnicorn, for example, has. And maybe that's probably why he hasn't been part of the box setup. But if he continues to score tries for the Lions, then by all means. So he signed for another 3 years, which is really big. And then yesterday, arguably our hottest prospect moving forward, Henko van Beek, signed until 2027. What I think this is also is really good for the box, because these are players who are potentially going to be playing box in the next couple of years. I think Asanate Tlabakanye will be a Springbok before 2027. I think that he's got everything he needs. Him and Anthony Bashir, I think, are the obvious sort of next candidates for sort of tight head. And Rassie Ras is a big fan of Henko van Beek. And I do think that whilst you can make the box whilst playing your rugby outside of South Africa, your chance is a lot higher when you're playing your rugby here. So I think these players kind of sort of showing their Springbok ambitions. They want to sort of commit to the Lions, but they know they're going to get the game time. They're going to get the opportunity. The fact that last year some Lions players did get called up, and Edel van der Merwe got a cap last year, Moine van den Berg got a cap, Quine Horn got a cap, Ruan Fenter got a cap, it sort of showed that the Lions can produce Springboks. And I think they know right now that they're going to get all the opportunity they need. They're going to be front and center every week, and that's going to get them into box squads. Once they're permanently part of the bomb squad, and box squad rather, I expect you to probably see a couple of them move over. It's unlikely Lions to be able to keep something like a Hencoff and Blake for like his full career, and that's just the way that the sport goes and the way the rugby's going. But to be able to sort of commit those players, it also means you can try and hold on to other players because they can kind of see a bit of a project brewing. So whether, for example, this project's going to be guided by the current coaching staff, where the other changes could come, it's just nice to know that, for example, we've got a quality front row side, a quality back row, a quality outside centre. Tie down your halfbacks, for example. Losing Senator Hammer was big, but if Morning van den Berg and Nico Steyn, for example, we tie them down long term, then that's a really big boost. If you tie down Quan Horn, if you tie down Ruan Fenter, you start to build a really nice spine of a team that can hopefully become quite competitive. But let me know what you think. Which is the biggest signing of those three? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.